Just want to do a disclaimer before I start this video. It's probably going to be all over the place, but I'm going to try to keep it straight and narrow and just keep it as put together as best I can. So roll that intro. Hey, what's up? It's me, Justin, back again for Vagabond Daily. I've been wanting to make this video for a while. I'll start with that. A long while, actually. And I've seen many other videos made just like this. But I've been hesitant, and it actually has sparked me to make this video. The person was, I don't know if you watch his channel, Clean Prince Gaming. He puts on some amazing video series on video games and just documentary style and analysis, and yeah, I'll link either somewhere here or I'll put it down in the pinned comment section below, but go follow him. Amazing person. But he just made a video called GameStop Screwed Me Again. He's made previous GameStop videos and I found them very enjoyable, and I've went kind of down the YouTube rabbit hole of GameStop videos, and I just finally, I've been very leery to make one because I used to work for a GameStop. I want to make a video on this, but I don't want to burn any bridges because never say never. I probably will never work there again, but never say never because you never know where life will turn you to. So this is my video on how I used to work for GameStop. Now I can make, yeah, I've got tons of stories, so I might just make this like a little mini series and maybe like a GameStop stories because I've got plenty of them. But we'll start at the beginning, and like I said, I'm sorry if this is going to be all over the place. I'm just trying to collect my thoughts and keep it simple, but we'll start at the beginning. I started with a GameStop right around, I would say, the end of 2006, January 2007. So, and I worked there till the beginning of 2012, I believe. Yeah, it was 2012, right at the end, right at the beginning of 2012 is when I left there. But when I started out as a SGA. Now, the reason why I got started, I had a friend tell me that, hey, they're building this brand new GameStop. They're adding it on to like this little strip mall. I know you really wanted to work there, or you really want to work with video games, so you should go apply. At the time, I was in my early to mid-20s. I didn't have anything going for me. I was working at this little grocery store. I skipped college because I just wasn't ready at the time. So I thought, cool. I mean, I've messed around with like Babbage's and EB Games, and I know how that works, and I would like to work there because everything I'd read, everything I thought about GameStop was really cool. I think it would be a really cool environment to work there, talk about video games, probably get to play video games, which is somewhat of a lie. So I applied. Now, I've always wanted to work with video games in some form or another. They say if you really want to figure out what you want to do in life, go back to when you were 16, 17, and whatever you wanted to do then pretty much is what you want to do in your life. And I've always wanted to work for like Nintendo Power, or I don't think IGN was around at the time. Maybe they were, but like EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, and such. And I always wanted to do things like that. Hi, Fiona. How you doing? How you doing? The dog goes down here. So I applied. Interview went great. I got an SGA spot, which is pretty much like a night manager, senior game advisor is what they're called. But I got an SGA spot making more than what I was making at the grocery store gig. And I thought, awesome, cool, I'll get my foot in the door. I think I applied for assistant manager, didn't get it. But within, I would probably say 2 months, 3 months, I was at the assistant manager spot because the previous one, something went wrong there. I don't know what happened. Then he left the company and I took over as assistant manager. Everything was hunky-dory. I mean, this was a brand new store. Almost all the crew was new except for the store manager, which I adored him. Me and him got along very, very, very awesomely. And yeah, it was a fun time. And then I would probably say, this is how quickly they move you around in GameStop. I would probably say within that August. So I got hired on per January as a SGA. 3 months later, we're gonna say probably April. May, I was assistant manager, ASM. And then probably 2-3 months later from that, probably in August, September, I think it was around August, I was store manager because the store manager there was needed to go help out another store, which was having problems. So he voluntarily left and they promoted me because he recommended me, and they I became store manager. And granted, I knew kind of what I was doing, but it was just such a quick bam, 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 this is your role. Go for it. But I knew I had a really good crew. So luckily I was able to get in right at the time that GameStop usually has their manager meetings, which they vary in place. When I was there, we always went to either Las Vegas, San Antonio. I think they alternated between those. It seems like we went somewhere else, but I can't remember. But Las Vegas and San Antonio. So I got in right at the nick of time to squeeze myself into the 2007 managers meeting in Las Vegas, which is pretty much like a freaking E3. It's pretty awesome. We did have one or 2 days of just like hardcore meetings and talking, but the rest was just, hey, look at these games. This is what we had. And honestly, I think the time that I worked there, just the era of GameStop was quite a bit different. Because you had the PS3 and 360 just pretty much came out. You had games like with the Wii. I got to see the Wii when it came out. That was freaking wow. That's all I got to say.
That's what she said. Michael, please.
I got to see the games like Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, the Halo series, Halo 3, Reach, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Grand Theft Auto 4, Red Dead Redemption. I got to see all that. Batman, Arkham Asylum. I was there for it all. And I think the era I worked in was probably the best time to work at a GameStop. Because yes, the Circle of Life did exist. I have a bunch of horror stories, and I have a bunch of good stories. The Circle of Life did exist, but granted, they didn't push it as much back then, or at least, we pushed it, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. From what I hear now, it's just GameStop's just turning into like just a hot topic where they're selling everything they can other than video games, because that market is changing so very quickly, and I'm glad I got out when I did. But during my time at GameStop, the Circle of Life was intact. We did sell a lot of used games, sold a lot of new games. Personally, with my store and my crew, I believe I had one of the best crews. We were one of the better GameStops. We weren't one of the shady ones that would screw you over at any chance they could get to get the reservations and the subs. And we were actually really nice. I gelled with the crew. They respected me a lot, and I respected them, to the fact that we would actually hang out outside of work. I know it's probably prohibited, but it was enough respect there where we could go hang out and just like Rock Band, for instance, when it came out, we would all go to my night manager's house, my SGA's house, and we would all play till wee hours in the morning, or play Halo. And that was back when we would System Link old Xboxes together, and it was just such a fun time to work there. I have so many great memories, and a lot of bad ones too. But our store was one of the better ones because typically when you walk in a GameStop, 9 chances out of 10, yeah, they're going to try to upsell you on the value of the pre-owned games, because that's where their market is. That's pretty much where they get all of their revenue from, was that pre-owned. Because yes, you would go in and trade in, you buy Madden, we'll just say Madden. Hell, what Maddens are they on now. We'll say like Madden 20. You know, you buy that and you turn right around and sell it 2 weeks later, and they're going to give you like $5 for it, even though you paid 60, and turn right around and sell it for 55. That's where they made a lot of their profit. And granted, we did have a lot of people who would do that, and I would tell them, be like, listen, this is what I can give you. Are you sure you want to do that? And, you know, for the most part, yeah, they understood. I always made the car analogy where if you go buy a car off the lot, turn right around and try to sell it back to them like 2 weeks later, you've lost like $10,000, depending on the car, but you'll lose a lot of the value when you turn around. Even driving off the lot and turning right back around, you know, 2 days, 3 days later, you've lost a lot of money. And that was always the analogy I would use, and it would work. But granted, I had people that trade in games, and I had to explain to them the process, and yeah, did I feel bad about it? Of course. But I explained to them what they were doing, and you know, this is the process, and they would go ahead and do it. Yes, we did sell reservations, but I wasn't the type of person that would force feed them and be like, hey, you've got to get this game. It's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. I would tell them what I thought about it. I would tell them our limited quantities, because back then, yeah, pretty much what you reserved is what you got. We did get a few extra quantities, but I mean, it was pretty much what you see is what we got. So if you want this game, you can pre-order it. If you don't like it, come back, just cancel it. We can move it over to someone else, you know, whatever you want to do. So yeah, they would do that, but I wouldn't sneakily add on or force feed those reservations. Even at times when we had DMs pushing us, be like, hey, you got to get this, you know, you got to get like 30-40% on your res, and we need like 20%, 25% on your subs, which is probably quite a bit higher now. But I never sneakily did it, and I was always very truthful. Even when selling games, say someone come in and be like, hey, you know, they picked up, I'm trying to think of a crappy game, like a very, very crappy game. So like they picked up Alpha Protocol when it came out. That game was garbage. I personally loved it. I thought it was a great game, but that's just me. And I would tell people that, I'd be like, listen, this game's pretty crappy. I mean, it's garbage. But I really liked it, and if you like these certain aspects of it, you might like it too, but I'm forewarning you, this game is garbage. I would not pick it up if you don't like this stuff. And I would be truthful with them, and so would my game advisors, so would my managers. They would be very truthful, and we would tell them what we liked and what we didn't like and let them make up their own mind. Granted, yeah, I mean, we didn't please everyone, because sometimes you'd recommend a game that someone wouldn't like and they'd just be a little pissed off about it. But I mean, it is what it is. But I wasn't going to sell a crappy game just to sell a crappy game. That was just me. And I think that's one of the reasons why our store did so well and people liked us, is because we were truthful. And I think that built a rapport with people, and they respected me and I respected them, and yeah, the rest is history. But yeah, I did have a lot of shady people come in and try to trade brand new games. Like, I'll make this short and sweet. I remember I had this guy come in. He would trade. I mean, literally the day of like a new NBA 2K game would come out, or Madden would come out, he would be in there that morning trading in that game. Surprise, surprise, he didn't have a case for it. And I knew, I was like, this has got to be stolen. This guy stole this from somewhere, and he's trading in. And I'd be like, hey, man, and he'd always want cash. And I'd be like, hey, man, you know this game just came out, right? He'd be like, yeah, but I didn't like it. I was like, well, why don't you go return it? You know, because this game just came out like 10 hours ago, probably less than that, 8 hours ago if you got it at midnight. Oh, no, man, I just want the cash. All right, so you jot down the information, give them cash, and you file it away. And I've got another story I got to tell on that, and I probably will make a separate video. But there was a lot of good and a lot of bad working at GameStop. I worked at one of the better GameStops, GameStop 3832. You can look it up if you want. I don't know what it's like now. I've been out of that game for so long. But I saw the writing on the wall probably at the end of 2011 because of an incident that happened. I won't get too much in it just because I don't want to dwell on names. But I got moved from my 3832 store. I took over a new store, and then was moved there to a mall store that was having a lot of issues. So I went there to go clean it up, so to speak, because they trusted me enough, or either that they didn't have anyone to want to take that. So I went there, and there was a bunch of internal fighting. There was a new manager at the other store in the city that I moved to. So there was 2 GameStops, and there was a bunch of internal fighting between management, managers, and it was just a cluster, man. It beat me down because when I went into GameStop, that's all I did. That's all I thought about. I was pretty much what one person referred to me as Captain GameStop, because I put a lot of time, a lot of effort into and pride into my work, and I loved being there, and it was my life for a long time, for a good 5 years, 6 years. And I lost a lot of time because of that. I say lost, but I put a lot of time and effort into that, and it showed because I lost. I had some bad relationships at the time. Well, it turned bad. They were good relationships, but they turned bad. I was so focused on work. Most of my friends were kind of disappearing, but I made new ones, work friends, and I just got so wrapped up in the pretty much spirit of GameStop that I loved it and put a lot of time and effort into it. Manager, for instance, only supposed to work like 40 hours a week. I think 5 hours overtime. I was there a lot of time, 60 hours a week, just because I wanted to be there. Granted, payroll was pretty crappy at times, but payroll was crappy all the time. We never had any hours. Here's 90 hours a week. Your ASM gets 40. SGA at least gets 30, so deal with the rest. You're not going to have any game advisors. But I think that's why I worked a lot. But 2011, writing on the wall, a lot of fighting internally, and I was just done. I went to a conference, and some stuff went down that caused an employee to get fired, and I wasn't cool with that. And I even got wrote up for it to a first and final, and I was pretty much a poster boy of GameStop then. And I got a first and final for something so stupid. And I was just done. I came back from conference and I was like, I'm done. So I gave them a month's notice and I was out. Granted, I did leave them high and dry pretty much in dead of winter, where they're the busiest. But I gave them a month's notice and I told them, hey, this is bon voyage. And I left the company. I didn't leave the company with a fight. I mean, I just left the company because I was just done. I left the company on good terms. I've never looked back. I've always thought about it, but no, I've got other bigger goals. More time has went away from GameStop, and I don't, I probably will never work there again. Never say never, but yeah, I'm done with that. That chapter of my life is closed, and I've moved on. But I like to tell more stories about GameStop because, granted, I might be an outlier. And I think our store was 3832. You can look it up. But I had a lot more positive experiences than I did negative. Granted, I did have quite a few negatives. But I think my positives on my end outweighed the negatives. But then again, that might be me just looking in the past with rose-colored glasses, so to speak. But that's kind of my short story of GameStop. I like to tell more stories within because I've got plenty between all of my old employees who used to work there. I'd say, 100% of that crew is gone that worked with me. They all left the company for different reasons, and I would like to get a lot of them on this channel to do a video, and we kind of reminisce and talk about some of the old stories, because I'm sure they have a ton too, and I have a ton. But I might make a different little documentary series, and kind of maybe not like a documentary series, maybe just more like a GameStop stories, because that seems to be popular now. GameStop's pretty much in the tank. They're sinking pretty fast. Like I said, they're turning into a hot topic, or They're just selling everything besides games, and won't be long. I've started to switch to digital, and I've always been give me that copy of that game. And I still am, but I shop more at Best Buy now and Amazon. Whew, excuse me. Yeah, Amazon, I shop there. I'll go into GameStop every once in a while, but just kind of to humor myself. But overall, I had a good experience with the GameStop. I had more pros than I had cons, but there were still a lot of cons there, and I can see why the company is sinking the way it is now, because it has changed quite a bit. I'm glad I tapped out and left when I did, because, yeah, there's no way I could survive now. No way. Anyway, if you have any GameStop stories, or if you want me to do more, give me a like, give me a subscribe. I appreciate it. I'm sorry about not making more videos like I said it was. I got sidetracked. I started a new job, and I've been busy with that. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening to me ramble for 22 minutes, if I don't chop this down a little more. But thank you for just subscribing and just watching this video. I appreciate it. My name's Justin for Vagabond Daily. Have yourself a great day, and yeah, I'll be back.